I released a video last week about the Netgear M6 Pro. It's a mobile router, 5G, Wi-Fi 6E, really considered top of the line at the moment in mobile router tech. It's massively overpriced in my opinion. The thing costs around about £800-900. Crazy price for what it is. Absolutely insane. But it does carry the fact that it does everything that a mobile router could possibly do using today's tech. So they're going to charge you for that. The video I released last week anyway was my thoughts after a couple of weeks of use. It was really a first impressions video, and it was recorded a while ago. I just haven't got around to editing it. I have now used the product for the last few months. I've taken it away from me, with me. We've used it we've used it on roaming over in France. We've used it on roaming at a hotel in Germany. We have used it in the car on long journeys in France. So we actually drove to France. We had in excess of 6-7 hours in the car, and we've used it there on USB power in the car. And I just wanted to come back to the product and just sort of say that yes, although I do have little quirks with it around having to restart it all the time, as I mentioned in that previous video, but overall it performs really well and is just a solid product that has been so useful. I'm so glad I bought it. I mean, I was trying to justify it at the start of the last video. I was trying to give you the reasons why I bought it, and then kind of basically justifying the purchase. But honestly, it has honestly been really good. I was a bit concerned to start with, a little bit like range anxiety, I suppose, on an electric car. I was worried about data. How much data am I going to use? Because I think sometimes you have fair usage policies with unlimited data plans, and whether they enforce those or not, well, that's a different matter. But I was thinking, 600 gig, is that enough? So I looked at our usage in the house. So this is the house here where we use everything, every device we have, TVs, iPad, mobile phones, my sort of uploads and downloads, everything. And it never has exceeded 700 gigabytes. It generally sits around 250-300 for a month. So in reality, I know that I can do anything I want with this product, and it won't go over the amount that I would use, that 600 gig that they're putting in there as a fair usage. So this is what I've got it in now. I'll put it this side instead. This box is a port keys box. That's actually for the monitor I'm using on my camera here, but it fits the Netgear product really well. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm effectively using this as a sort of, this is a really cheap Pelly case. I was talking about Pelly cases the other day, and but it fits it nicely. Look, nice little, got the little DJI USB in here, and a nice lengthy cable. That's handy to have. I would definitely recommend you get a long cable. The one that comes with it is a thick thing that just isn't long enough. Get a long cable, because you might find yourself putting this in really odd positions to get good reception. And let's take the product out of here. Still got the rubber feet on the bottom, and this has got the battery in at the moment, but usually when I'm away I do end up taking the battery out and putting it on full performance mode, because as I mentioned in the previous video, the Wi-Fi, the signal is only at normal router levels in top performance mode on this. Anything else is an attenuation of Wi-Fi. So for in the car, absolutely fine with the battery. You can use it a good kind of like a few hours with the battery. In fact, thinking about that, that's something that I kind of think is a little bit strange, because I can sit there and I can have my hotspot on my phone and it will run for hours, and that's with a much smaller battery. I just wonder why this has to use so much power. I mean, why can this runs for 4 or 5 hours? Then surely a phone would run out quicker than that. Admittedly, it wouldn't have so many devices connected to it, and I don't know, I'm just not quite sure why this uses so much battery. It does get really hot, so definitely consider that wherever you're going to put it. But the thing I was mentioning about the long cable, when we were in France, I had to find a spot like balanced up, so brought up on a cable and balanced up on a light that was fitted to the wall, and I was just monitoring the signal, the mobile signal, and because we were in the middle of nowhere, and I just managed to find a spot that bumped up to kind of a reasonable signal on, I think, it was 5G. So that was great, because once I found that signal, I then put it on full performance mode, could receive it on Wi-Fi downstairs, and on the Apple TV and stuff like that, I was getting kind of like 200 megabits per second download, which is absolutely fine for anything, isn't it? If you can get that sort of consistently, it's absolutely fine. Interestingly, though, you've got two figures with 5G. You've got the signal level, and then you've got a sort of signal quality level. I can't remember the exact. Now, is it RSRQ or something? Is the signal quality level? And interestingly, although the signal was really weak, the quality of the signal was much better. So last week in Germany, we had a signal level. I think we were right next to a mast. The signal was horrendously good. It was like minus 40 dB or something like that. If you consider on 5G, a signal of minus 95 is good. This was minus 40. But the actual quality of the signal was worse than it was in France on a fringe area of a cell, purely because there was nothing around, I think, in France, whereas in the middle of Berlin, you've just got so much clutter of traffic and stuff. I imagine that interference and whatever degrades the signal, because I was getting a quality signal of about minus 12 dB, even though the signal was so massively good. Anyway, the speeds are generally fantastic. I've had anything up to 300 or 400 megabits off this thing, and upload is always bad. It seems upload is always bad on 5G if you're getting a 5G signal. But as for performance in the car, it's as good as a mobile phone. It just runs continuously. Everybody can happily connect to it. It honestly works really well. I'd highly recommend it. Yes, it's expensive, but it is completely up to date. It supports 5G, so you get much better performance from it. It supports every Wi-Fi mode possible, which will be beneficial in the future, because as more and more things adopt Wi-Fi 6E, the 6 gigahertz band, and Wi-Fi 7 now, you'll want that to be able to connect to it. And I'd highly recommend it. As I say, it is expensive. And then, of course, you've got the cost of a SIM on top of that, so you've got to pay for an unlimited SIM on top of that. But it's a really good product, and it performs really well.